I don't see anything on yours. So is there another trace to look at?
I don't know. I don't think so. But I always run my pure signal anyway, so it's never an issue with me. But when you did your AB there, I did see a difference.
Okay, why don't you do another test, and we'll have you take a look at it.
Okay, what was that, Todd?
I don't see anything on
It
yours.
also depends on the amp.
Is there
Some
another
amps
trace to look at?
Tend to be dirtier than others,
I don't
so
think so.
it's kind of
I always run my
garbage
pure
in,
signal
garbage
anyway,
out.
so it's never an issue with
the
me.
pure
But,
signal,
when you did
unless
your
you have
AB there,
a
I did see a
feedback
difference.
loop from your
Okay, why
amp,
don't you
if
do
you're
another
just running
test,
the pure signal in
and
the
we'll have you
radio,
take a look at it.
then it's going to give a
Okay,
very
what
clean
was that,
signal to
Todd?
the
I don't
amp,
see
and the
anything.
amp may
It
add
also
some
depends on the
product
amp.
to it.
Some amps
If you have it configured with a detector on the output of the amp, that pure signal will also clean it up so that even the stuff coming out of the amp should be pretty pristine. But I don't think that my amp throws a lot of IMD, but it is, the devil is in the details.
Right, that makes sense. Thanks for the explanation there, Todd. All right, right now, right now, George, I have the pure signal off. It is now off. 1, 2, 3, and 6RRV off. It is now in the off position. Now I'm going to turn it back on here. Here we go. Now pure signal is now on. 1, 2, 3 on, and 6RRV. Did you see any difference there in the tracing there? Go ahead, George.
Okay, do it off one more time.
All right, it is now off. Pure signal is off, and 6RRV, Mission Viejo, in the off position. And now it is back on, and 6RRV, Mission Viejo, in the on position. Go ahead.
I didn't really detect anything there, so I thought I might have, but there's some adjacent channel interference that's presenting on the scope, and so I think it might have been the adjacent channel. So I didn't see any real obvious IMD products, so, there you go. I have one of the Ameritron amplifiers, ALS 600, and I'm running less than 500 watts, so maybe about 450, which is where I typically run it. There's no point in driving it too much, and so maybe that's part of what I do. That helps. I think some amplifiers are probably really dirty, and so would really benefit from this. So I'm not sure if it's necessary in my case or not, but again, potatoes and patatas, I guess.
1, 2.
Well, that's good. I'm glad there's not much difference, because it tells me, at least according to what Todd explains to us, that perhaps there's not a whole lot of noise being generated by my amplifier that might contribute to some IMD. So good. Anyway, that's a good little experiment. I did notice it on yours, and there you go. N6RV. And Todd, how you doing up there, brother?
Doing good. We got a severe weather warning for tonight, so we're on guard, but all is good so far. And Scott, aren't you running a Elecraft KP500 amp?
I got the power combo, the matching tuner with it, and the amp, yes, that's correct. The KPA 500 is what I use. And right now, it is at about 515 watts right now.
KJ70.
So I wouldn't expect to see a massive difference in pure signal with that. I think George's amp is probably a little dirtier, but he's not pushing it hard. So I think where you see the difference is if someone is really pushing the amp hard, then the pure signal can make a pretty significant difference. Yep. All good, and your signals look good, but as George said, I've got somebody at 200 and somebody at, I think, 195, so I'm seeing whiskers that are not yours out there.
Roger. There was somebody else that was trying to get in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's John Can6 QIF.
Hey, Johnny. Hey, man. Good to see you, or good to hear you. I took everything under consideration. I think I'm going to order 2 of those bad boys. Notwithstanding, I don't have any problems with my current transmission going in and out.
KJ70.
I totally hear that. I think I have two things I want to add. I've been kind of listening off and on for a couple minutes. Every amplifier is going to add intermodulation distortion. That's just a fact. These linears are not actually totally linear, so they will all produce intermod. If you feed the radio an extremely clean signal, then the only intermod the amp will produce is whatever the spec is rated to. And if I'm 500 miles away from you, I might not hear any of your intermod. But if you're 30 dB over S9, then for sure I'm going to see it. So it's not just a near field kind of thing. I think also running pure signal ensures that you get exactly the intended output, meaning that what you put in is what you get out, which isn't true if you don't have a system like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. By the way, I'm going to get 2 of those VK3 AMPs per your suggestion, and I'm going to get them with the SO, what is it, the SO39s? Is that what it comes with? I can't recall. So the only thing I'm going to need is the connecting cables, and I'll be good to go.
Yeah, you probably have the jumpers already, so all you'll really need is a SO239 to BNC male adapter if you don't already have one.
I may not, but James probably does, and I think he's got the cables there as well. So we'll be good. In fact, I'll probably make the order tonight or tomorrow morning, and probably take about 10 days or so to get here, I would imagine. But looks good. I think I'm going to be really happy with a new toy.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm glad this is kind of shaken out, and you know, it's not such a big deal for you or me or whoever, but you know, best amateur practice, run as clean a station as you can. Why not?
Yeah, that's what I think, and it's not too expensive, so we can absorb that. If the fun factor kind of trumps out the expense, so it'll be good to do it.
KJ70.
KN6 TYF.
Linear question.
Damon's out there.
Hey, Damon, how you doing, man?
With the linear.
Damon.
Alpha Juliet 6 X-ray whiskey. I want to make sure I didn't double on anybody.
Go ahead, Damon.
Yeah, I had a linear question, but I didn't want to butt in. I can wait. Are working. So it's the Ameritron Alpha Lima 80 Alpha. And I got that probably 8 months ago, just left it on the shelf until I could do enough reading. It seems to be working fine on 20 and 40, but when I tried on 10, anything over 200 watts, the gauges start kind of going crazy, and then poof, it blows both 10 amp fuses. Any ideas on that? Back to you.
Let me see if I got it. Yeah, so a couple things. A lot of Ameritron amps require modification to support 10 meters. So you need to double check if your amp has already been modified for 10 meters, and if not, what the requisite instructions are to do so. And then 2 other things I would add. While they may work on 10 meters, I would expect reduced output. I would not expect full drive, and I would expect to drive it with more power to get that output. So I think what you're seeing is not completely unreasonable. Also, did you say 10 amp fuses? I think that is not enough amperage. I think they are 12 amp fuses, if I'm remembering correctly. Back to you, Dirk.
Oh, thank you for the reply. And again, I know nothing whatsoever about them except don't open the case when it's on. And so it came with 10s, and I've got them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've already blown 6 of them, and so just by user error, and I realized I had to really slow down with both the tuning the plate and the load and all that. But Okay, thank you. I believe the previous owner said it was modified for 10, and it's got the click when you do the band dial. It clicks below 15. And so I'll have to call him again, but I believe he said it is. But it's going over 1,000 on 1,000 watts output on 20, 40, and 75. So I'll ask him if it was wired for 10. I believe he said it was, so I'll double check. Thank you.
Yeah, are you feeding this with 120 or 240?
120.
Yeah, you're going to need like a 15 amp fuse probably. I'm going to check the manual for you.
You said AL80, is that correct?
AL80A.
One top out with 120 volts, probably in that range, under 600. On 240, 800 watts PEP would probably be more the norm. And you may be going into some sort of an oscillation, driving as hard as you are on 10 meters, getting RF into your radio, causing issues on the amplifier. So it could be a grounding situation. It could be a couple different things. 10 meters is much more susceptible to RF getting into your radio. The only way to test for sure is to run it into a dummy load. Just follow the manufacturer's instructions and tune up and output power expectations. The manual can be downloaded online, but that's you should be your first resource.
Okay, Damon.
I have the manual. I've almost memorized it. I've read it so many times. Okay, and then one other thing is on the 10 meter. Going up to a different antenna, I'm using RG8X, so everything else was the LMR 400. Could that be the issue also?
Well, 1.5 kilowatt through RG8X on lower frequencies. Upper frequencies, you're going to end up a little bit more loss and a little more heating of the coax. But that's probably not causing your problem. It could potentially be a problem long run under high power.
Yeah. So just a couple bits I would like to add, which is the maximum draw at the rated output for that amplifier is 12 amps at 120 volts. So you will need at least a 12 amp fuse. I like to use the fast blow glass fuses, so you can easily check if they're blown. Don't use the slow blow ones. And the amp is rated half-hour continuous carrier at 500 watts. And for PEP output, it is rated at 1,000 watts. I probably, in my personal experience, I think, 750, 800 watts would be the kind of happy zone for full output there. Maybe Damon disagrees. I don't know, but that's what the book says.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, I did the 10 amp, so I'd rather have it blow sooner than later. And I did get the fast blow, and in fact, I just ordered 20 more because I went through 6 fuses in less than 2 days. So, all right. Thank you. You really helped me learn a lot, and I want to say I appreciate that. And I'll talk to the previous owner that sold it to me. He actually had worked on it, and so he'll know about that. The 10 meter section. I thought he said it does have it, and when I move the dial past 15, it clicks like there's another mode there.
There very well may be, but if you're blowing fuses, I would at least have the 12s, just because that's what the book says and that's what it's going to draw. Damon is right, however, you really don't need a kilowatt or even 800 watts on 10 meters. Like when 10 meters is open, I work, across the world on 100 watts, no problem. So I think you'll find just a little bit of extra power will be a great help, and I wouldn't push it too much.
The AL80B doesn't have 10 meters.
It does.
Well, it says auxiliary, then it goes from 15 to 17. At least mine does.
Yeah, the auxiliary is the 10 meter input if you snip the green wire.
Roger. Okay, cool. KR6AO.
It's the equivalent of taking the blue pill.
Hey, Damon.
I always take the red.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Damon, are you still live streaming there?
I should be, yes.
Because I'm on it right now, and it only goes for a certain period of time with George talking, then it stops. I can't get it, continuously live. Is there something I'm missing here?
No, I think I kept myself off the internet. I had to turn the power down. I noticed my router was off, but it says it reconnected. Let me take a look.
Once I've spoken, what more is there to say?
I stepped into that one. But I was going to say, the audio fidelity on that is really good. With George I put on my headphones and listened to it on the live stream, and boy, it sounds good. I couldn't believe how good it sounds. And
no,
very
I think
impressive,
I kept
Damon.
myself off the internet. I had to turn the power down. Let me put a new link up. Connected. Let me take a look.
Yeah,
Damon, once I've spoken, what more is there to say?
I'm watching the live stream. It's working just fine.
I stepped into that one, but I was going to say
KK7 TV.
My favorite auxiliary receiver, because you get 3 antenna ports and it sounds awesome. Like, it sounds better than my Anon, if I'm being totally honest.
Time to sell that.
Let me put a new link up.
If only it was a transmitter too.
Once I've spoken,
hey, Randy, how you doing?
If only your grandmother had you wouldn't be here.
My favorite.
Fine, thank you.
Auxiliary receiver.
David, I'm looking at it right now.
3 antenna ports.
It says $71.99 live,
Like,
665 subscribers. Am I looking at the right one?
I think so.
Time to sell that.
Because it stops right at 43 seconds, and then it goes to a different video on something totally unrelated to what we're doing. I can't seem to get it continuously live.
Go click on my username on YouTube, which is WSMC551, I believe, and just go to my videos, and there's a link there for live, and you can see the live stream there, or the link there, and click it.
Okay, what do I got to type in again?
Well, let me do it with you. Let me go to YouTube, and then type in WSMC551. There we go. Hold on, is that right? No, it is not right. What is my user account? Your channel.
Damon KJ70.
There you go, Damon KJ70. That should be easy enough to remember.
Damon KJC. What is that?
My call sign, KJ70. Yeah, and actually it's the first thing that pops up for me. Just type in Damon KJ70 in the search bar on YouTube, and there it is.
I'm looking for myself on here now.
I got it. I hear the notable Randy on there right now. Very cool.
Boy, what a long delay.
Yeah, it's several seconds delay, about 10, 15 seconds, I think.
Yeah, the live stream to YouTube to the world delay.
So, Damon, are we able to make comments and that kind of thing?
Why such a monster delay?
That's just the way YouTube works.
How do you make comments on this thing, Damon?
I have no idea. I haven't gotten that far.
How does what work?
Very cool.
Oh, I can see you can type messages and comments, but I don't know exactly.
A7 TV. I'm going to see if I'm louder.
A lot of background noise. KJ6LA.
Is this a remote receiver to you, Damon?
No, it's here in the. It's connected to the buffered aux antenna port on the back of the 101.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, man, you read my mind.
All right, this is a test for the receiver.
Is this a...
All right. right, cool. Thank you. All right, I'm real time. I'm not going through Damon.
Yeah, however you cut, dice, or slice it sure sounds good, though, Damon. Did a good job.
Do very little. Just open up the bandwidth and stream it.
Fantastic.
And we got SWLs in New York on listening as well.
Holy cow. Hello to New York.
You have a chat in there now.
Yeah, I see that. I'm like a real YouTuber now.
I just said hi.
I see.
How do I get there? I'm not seeing the chat.
Of course you're not.
Scott, come on now, buddy. Catch up. And hello to Randy.
Hello to Randy. As well.
No, this is George.
Hey, George.
How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, had a crazy customer a little while ago, but he's gone now, thank God.
Oh, I'm sorry. So frustrating.
I know. He speaks, he's from India, and his English is terrible.
Makes the work more difficult because you can't get the information communicated.
It really is terrible. It's hard for me to... Now, we had a three-way on there. We had a lady from the Philippines on there, and she put him on hold. And I said, hey, do you understand what he's saying, every word? She goes, yes, I can. I can understand every word he's saying. I said, you're Filipino? She says, yes. I said, that's amazing, because I don't understand a word he's saying.
November 6th, Sierra Delta Charlie, say hi, blast, and roll.
Todd Richmond, what does FTW stand for, brother?
For the win.
Randy for the win. Oh.
Because you had a three-way with an Indian and a Filipino.
Little shorties, you have so many things.
You said you had a three-way going.
Oh, no, just on the phone, brother. Actually, there were four of us on the phone.
So, Damon, how often do you have your receiver active on the site?
Oh, just not very often. This is like the second or third time I've done it, and I'm not going to leave it there. It's just whenever I'm on and want to play.
Okay.
I would like to add that I do have AirSpy HF Discovery, usually available for public use here, and you can find that on the AirSpy website under Public SDR Network.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks.
Okay, boys, now that we've exhausted that route. So what do you think, Scotty? Did you ask anybody else about if you should do this external thing yet?
Oh, yeah, I've already confirmed with Johnny that is what I'm going to do. John helped out tremendously, and Damon chimed in a little bit, and you gave me information, so I got some really good references, and I did my background research. So I'm ready to go, so I'm going to pull the trigger and get a couple of those bad boys. I think James has the cables. I just don't know if I have the connectors, but that is a very minor detail. We'll get those through Amazon if I need to. But, yeah, I'm good to go.
Excellent. Are you going to get that one off of QRZ, or are you going to go for Newies?
I'm just going to go through... I'm just going to go through. The guy in QRZ only had one. I'm just going to go with Australia and just get two of them in one swoop.
I heard you asked Todd, too. Well, what did Todd say?
Oh, boy, what did Todd say? Todd, are you on there? What did you say?
Oh, just that it helps clean the signal up from potential intermod before it goes into the amp, and I presume you're talking about putting a detector post amp, which is the ultimate cleanliness, and which is of course next to godliness.
Yep, there's what Todd said.
Well, there's a few other people. We have to ask Al. You have to ask Al. You have to ask Mark. You have to ask Dennis, and you have to ask Andy.
Well, they're not on frequency right now, so I can't ask them.
And then when Dan comes on, you got to ask Dan.
Speaking of Dan, did you all get his email today?
No.
Oh, you did not? Well, he sent out a nice roster, and it had nice color to it with names, addresses, call signs, and very nicely professionally done. Dan did a great job with that.
Oh, I erased that instantly.
Oh, okay, but I like it.
Dan, actually.
Okay.
That was not Dan, brother. Now, what did you do today at the office?
Wait a minute. Who sent that then? If it wasn't, I thought it was Dan.
Oh.
No, it was Joe. November 6th, Sierra Delta Charlie.
Sent it out to everybody that I had on that list. My secretary put it together.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Dan. Sorry, my bad.
Well, it said right on top, N6SDC.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that. I was multitasking 10 different things today at the office, trying to get everything out. So I just thought it was Dan for some reason.
He's actually in the background trying to chime in that he did it. I hear him in the background.
Oh, who's that in the background?
Well, I didn't think I was in the background, but it's November 6th, Sierra Delta Charlie. It's Joe. My secretary did it, so I give her all the credit, and Dan can take credit if he wishes, but I just thought I'd clarify that. Go ahead.
Did you hear that?
Oh, okay. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm not on the roster.
Wait a minute. He didn't get on the roster?
Yeah, you are.
I didn't get any email.
George, you're on the roster.
W.
Everybody's on the
Eckhart.
roster.
10560 Gaviota Avenue, Granada Hills.
Okay, I didn't get a
But he doesn't
copy
list
of
an
it.
email, so he probably did not have access to your email address, George.
Okay, is it good on Q or is it?
Well, yeah, I didn't. My secretary didn't have access to all the email addresses, so only about half of those were sent out email. So I'm relying upon the rest of you that received it to share it with the rest. But I have to give all credit to my secretary. November 6th, Sierra Delta Charlie. I'll be quiet.
Thank you, Joe. I love the roster. KK7 TV said that.
KJ70?
Yeah, nice job, Joe. N6RV. Appreciate it.
Wait a second, Scott.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you ask Damon about the sampler?
Yeah, Damon chimed in earlier, didn't you, Damon?
No, I don't believe I did.
Oh, I thought you chimed in on the sampler as well. Randy? Well, no, we've been having a discussion the past 24 hours on a sampler that would be connected to the chain behind the amplifier to bring in a cleaner signal back to the Anon.
Yeah, one word answer, yes, do it. Yes, you want to do it.
I know. Did you get Al's opinion yet, Scotty?
John, who makes the one that you are using?
Was that
Well, the one that I was recommending or the one that I'm using right now this minute?
Oh, well, the one that you're recommending.
Yeah, VK3AMP. It's a VK amps.
Well, I tell you, this is Joe's November 6th, Sierra Delta Charlie. I can barely hear half of you, but the other half come in very clearly, so I apologize. But what was the question?
No, I don't think anyone was asking you anything, Joe, except thank you for doing that.
Okay, I'll pass that on to my secretary. She did a nice job. Thank you very much for commenting.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, there's really nothing special in the RF sampler. It's just a attenuated output that feeds the RF in on the Anon.
The VK amp one is a minus 55 coupler, which is just the right value to cover from 100 watts all the way up a little bit past legal limit, and will supply the necessary sampling level back to the modern Anon 7000 and 8000s. Also, it's very linear.
Oh, cool, I found it. So I'll have to read up on it. But which port does it go into on the Anon?
It goes into RX bypass, which is the furthest right. Okay, it depends on which vintage, but if it's one of the modern 7000s, it goes into RX bypass, and then you need to enable the external sampler under the antenna filters.
And then I'd have to look on the back, but I'm guessing that on the Anon, that's probably a BNC port, right?
Yeah, correct. It's BNC.
They're all BNC. So you need an SMA to BNC.
Or SO239 to BNC.
Yeah, you can order it with an SO239 sample port.
Okay. So all three ports are going to look the same.
Yeah, two on the sides and one on the top.
Is there an innie and an outie, or it doesn't matter which way hooked up?
No, it doesn't matter.
Gotcha. Mine matters. The Xtronic has an innie and an outie.
The top or bottom?
No, mine, my Xtronics has an innie and an outie.
Yeah. I mean, you can have the in and out be on any because it's just straight through, but the sample is separate.
Right. Yeah, but if you get an SO239 port and you have three SO239s, one of these is not the same as the other.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
It's a little bitty one.
That's true, but the in and out is in a straight line, and then the sample's off the top.
Yeah, the one for VK is a SMA.
If you decided that in and out was an L shape, I'm assuming that the Anon would not be very happy.
It would work for about a half a second. Hey, John, I got a question. Have you ever tried the forward sampling port on the Xtronic to see if it put out enough power?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it will. I mean, I just don't have any need to.
Yeah. So,
did you notice that it was the same?
I think it was the same sampling factor, the minus 30 or minus 40, whatever it says it is.
I did a whole research with Bob Heil on how to set this thing up. I'm still working through it, but I appreciate your comments. And it's probably not responsive to the question you just asked, but I just wanted to share that with you. Go ahead.
Joe, it's very hard to help you with audio because you're in the noise. Does anybody hear Joe louder?
Yeah, he's in the mud.
Negative.
Yeah, I'll admit that. That's a real problem. I'm replacing the antenna again, so I apologize, guys. So I'll just be quiet and listen.
He's about 1.5 S units over my noise, so clear copy, but not enough to be critical to my ear.
Interesting, the VK Amps has a lot of amplifier kits.
Yeah, and the kits are pretty nice, actually.
Do they include instrumentation and stuff like that, or is it just the board?
No, I think, if I remember, you can get the whole kits with controllers and stuff, but it's been a little while since I looked at it.
It's pretty cool. The prices are amazing.
Yeah, so the full kit includes like a 7-inch display as well as the controller and all the boards and everything. You just need to provide the power supply, the enclosure, heatsink, and fans.
Very cool. So, Scott, you're going to order from this gentleman in the UK?
No, he's in, I think it's Australia.
Or Australia, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, VK.
Excellent. Are you going to do it now?
Well, as soon as I get a minute, after I'm done pontificating my thoughts with all you guys, I might do it.
Are you sure you didn't leave anybody out?
No, I don't have the roster in front of me, but I think I got a majority.
Well, wait a second. Mark, you didn't ask Howard. Mark, Dan, George, you asked. You didn't ask Mr. Dennis. Andy.
I don't think Mark and Dennis are on frequency right now.
I sold my VK Amps one to Dan, if I remember.
So Dan is using it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's never mentioned it, though.
Well, it's a non-101.
Set it and forget it.
Yeah, it's a non-101, Scotty. You put it in and you forget about it.
I'm just kind of freaked out on how good that live streaming sounds. I was amazed at how good that sounds. Good fidelity coming out of that YouTube.
Oh, man. If you haven't played with those SDR Play receivers, I mean, you should. It's like $200, DC to 2 gigahertz, great audio quality. The software is pretty good. They're awesome.
Yeah, it's my new favorite toy for the week.
My other favorite is the AirSpy HF Discovery, which is a more specialized tool and pretty much does only HF, but it has the best DSP and noise blinkers and noise reduction and just all sorts of tools.
Well, I don't think one could do online trading with it because it takes 8 seconds, and by the time you get it back, you would have lost $1,000.
Oh, man. That's because you're watching it on YouTube, but like my AirSpy here, you can connect to it as a remote receiver, and it's full IQ data, and you hear it basically as soon as my radio hears it. There's no lag.
Yeah, well, HF trading, it deals in milliseconds, brother.
Well, yeah, but the lag is from the YouTube live streaming, not from the receiver.
Oh, it's from everything, and it's very disheartening.
Yeah, that's just the delay it takes for the video stream to come from Damon's computer to YouTube servers and then get processed and then rebroadcast.
Wait, how long does it take to yank your chain?
Well,
yeah, Randy's just screwing with you, John.
Randy's screwing with everybody tonight. Oh,
not me.
Scotty, did you ask JR yet?
Damn it, you got me.
Sorry, brother. I've been trying to get James all week. For 2 weeks, it's impossible. Hey, JR.
Howdy, howdy.
Oh, Andy. All right, Scotty, you got 2 more people to ask.
And who's that? JR and who else?
Andy broke.
Hey, Andy, how do you copy? You hear me okay?
Hey, you're sounding good, Scott. And hello, JR and Randy, and I think I heard John.
Yeah, hi, Andy. Welcome to the discussion. We're discussing the VK3 AMP sampler that we use to clean up our signals and have a really good sound coming out of it. Not sound so much, but clean up any IMD. Your thoughts on the subject, Andy and JR? What do you think?
Well, I know I'm putting out a pure signal.
Okay. JR.
Yeah, good evening. Well, I have used the Anon by itself. I have used the Anon with the coupler on my 2K solid-state amplifier, and I can tell you with that setup, the difference is not much. In fact, if I didn't tell the people I was switching, they didn't even notice the difference. But if I told them, okay, I just switched to the coupler with the amp, they'd say, oh, yeah, I think I saw a little bit of difference. So in my case, it wasn't worth the difference.
Well, how much power were you running when you were doing the test?
1,500 watts. That's what I always run.
Oh, well, that's pretty good results with 1,500 watts then. But, John pretty much gives a pretty good explanation, and he sold me on it. So John's a good salesman here. So I took his advice, and we're just going to pick it up. Doesn't do any harm, but I think it'll make me feel better. I'll have a feel-good experience, George. What do you think of that?
Well, whatever makes you feel better makes you stronger.
You don't mix business and ham radio, do you?
Helps if you're overdriving things a little bit. The radio will tone itself down. I always make sure that I'm not overdriving to begin with. But yeah, it's a good little device, and they definitely work.
I think you might lose your license with that advice, George.
You think so?
Yes, George, you got to be more precise.
George, you're off probation, though, right?
What's interesting is if you are more of a contemporary clinician, you might actually offer something like that, believing that everything that you want is really okay. That's really not my position, but that is the position of some folks.
Oh, we heard your position last month, and it was wonderful to hear you say how you really felt. I enjoyed it very much.
Well, thank you. Glad to make you feel better.
All right, Scotty, I'm convinced now. So that's about 9 yays and 1 maybe.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good odds. I like it. So we'll go with it, and once we get it on, we'll see if anybody has any comments at that point.
Were you looking for comments to make a decision, or what?
Hey, it's your money.
Wait, first with the nice comment, and then with the snide one. Go ahead, George.
No, I was just curious if Scott was looking for comments from others to make a decision, or did he just want to get a perspective on it? Scott, what was your interest in getting a collection of views on whether you get this sensor or not?
Well, I wasn't really looking for any discussion on it. Randy brought it up and thought that it would be useful if I got a consensus. So it's more or less feeding into Randy's desire that we do this. So that was the nice comment from George. Now the snide comment. Go ahead, Andy.
Oh, no, it wasn't snide. I just said, hey, it's your money.
I think you're going to be bored to tears with it, though, Scott. It doesn't have any knobs. You can't go in and tweak it every day. So I don't know what you're going to do.
Wait. Stand by, boys. Stand by. Stand by for everything. Scott?
Roger.
You busted me, bro.
What? I took my headphones off. I didn't hear. I was talking to Wendy for about 5 seconds. What was that? What did I do?
You busted me.
How so?
Well, I was breaking your balls, and you didn't let me.
Well,
you and James, you and your son. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it to anybody anymore.
You've broken him.
You've been exposed.
I've been exposed.
You've broken his balls.
I hope John forgives me for that one flounder thing I did earlier.
You had me going pretty good.
Well, Randy, all of us have flaws in our character. Don't worry about it.
Mine's not a flaw, brother. Mine's a ceiling.
Is less snide and more snark.
Thank you, sir.
So you got your headphones back on, Scott?
Headphoniomes are on.
Okay, what I said when you had your headphoniums off was that you're going to be bored to tears with that coupler. It doesn't have any knobs, doesn't have any sliders, doesn't have any buttons, and you can't tweak it every day.
I know.
But it does have a nice
you're
graph
right.
you
I'm
can watch.
obsessive-compulsive disordered to do that. And it drives my son, James, absolutely crazy. Because he notices if I do anything like that, and he says, okay, send me a photo of your rack. I want to see it. And then he'll say, okay, how did this knob go from here to here by itself? So go back to where it was. So I get that all the time. But you're right. There's nothing I can do. Once I get it hooked up, I'm going to have to forget about it.
Yeah, you won't be able to talk about it every day.
Hey.
Just talk through it.
Hey, Scotty.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Mark up in Big Bear. I'm on an auxiliary antenna here right now, so you might not be hearing me all that well. Anyhow, I just wanted to point out a couple of things here. Was interested in knowing what level does the pure signal looking for in the Anon. I just got my Anon today, and I didn't see that in the specs. Go ahead.
Roger with the question. I'm going to defer the answer to someone a little bit more expertise than me. Randy, go ahead.
No. No, I am Padawan. Mr. John? Oh, well, first of all, John, can you hear me?
Asking for what signal level is the radio expecting to have presented to it on the RX bypass input port for pure signal?
Correct.
Okay. Just quick question. How much power do you run?
Well, I have an actual port on mine right now, but I'm going to try to help you guys out because there's a guy, I don't know if you know Tyler, KA0KA. He has a coupler for you guys to use. On his site, Clean RF Systems, if you look in the products, you will see a 2,000 watt version and a 4,000 watt version for the sample, and it's variable, and it's got a knob on it, and it's got BNC out, so you know it looks very convenient.
It's not linear. It's not linear, young man.
I'm quite familiar with those. There's a couple reasons why they're not a good fit for pure signal. The first fit is that they are variable, right? So you can pretty easily get that knob cranked and send way too much level back to the radio. The second is that it's not a very linear sampler. The rule of thumb is you don't want to exceed 13 dBm ever at the rear input panel.
Okay, 13 dBm, excellent. So anyhow, okay, I'll check that out. I have a KPA 1500 with the port already on the back of it, and I'm thinking that will be a good fit for without any worry of overload or improper signal level.
Well, what you do is you experiment. You drive the amp to 100 watts, and you look at the SAT. You know, if you're running a 7000, it's got a 10 dB preamp built in to the pure signal. So whatever you get is going to be exasperated by 10 dB. So you got to be very careful. So drive the amp up to 100 watts. See what the SAT is. If you get close to 31 on the SAT, you're going to smoke the Anon.
Yeah. Okay, and the SAT stands for what?
It's the pure signal attenuation.
And the plus 13 dBm at the rear panel takes into account all the preamps and attenuators and stuff. If I recall, on the KPA 1500, it's a minus 60 sampling factor sampler, which is fine. But Randy's right, you should still double check.
Okay, thanks so much for the information.